Hey guys, my name is Ryan, and welcome to Overwatch Central. Yeah, I feel how I sound right now. I'm very ill at the moment, but I thought I'd keep this very quick. So with the Junkrat changes going through, I immediately wanted to speak to ProLikeChro, who is a Junkrat main mostly. He has other accounts that plays other stuff, but he's been playing Junkrat ever since it was pretty much added into the game. So I asked him about the changes, and he brought up some really interesting stuff to do with the flankers, and how Tracer really benefits from these changes, and Junkrat really suffers because of them. So, quick introduction for those that have not seen you in our videos before yet, and basically, what do you think of the Junkrat changes?
It's a fairly significant change from what I've been seeing so far. It looks like at the maximum range of Junkrat's concussive mine, it does downwards to 30 damage, and you practically almost have to be touching the mine to get the full 120 from the old change.
I mean, I guess we should start from the beginning, really. A lot of people start to see Junkrat as a big problem, not straight away after the changes went through with this double mine and all that stuff, but more just as time went on. Mercy didn't really help in that situation. I guess we could talk about her in a bit as well, but like, did you think that Junkrat was much of a problem? If so, what aspects of him were like troublesome?
I didn't see it too much of a problem, and I know people are going to say I'm biased for saying that, but the deal is Junkrat, and not to get into a lengthy discussion, but I don't believe in niche heroes. There's just strong heroes and weak heroes. Junkrat's strength was supposed to be being dominating a flank or a closed-in area. And with one concussive mine, he didn't have that option. Once they gave him two, it kind of gave him, like, you could not contest him in a small area, no matter what. And I think people are really upset going from this, oh, I can kill a Junkrat in his strong place, to, oh, I have no chance of touching a Junkrat in a closed-in area. Now, of course, this does carry over into, like, open field combat, where Junkrat can still use the double concussive mine to get kills. But I think it was just the lack of respect for Junkrat in the community, that they kept on pressuring him the same ways before in a closed-in area, and they kept on losing and losing and losing, and that was kind of their downfall and the major complaint. I see the complaining about that no different than complaining that Widow's too strong at long range or McCree's too strong at, you know, medium range.
Or Reaper close range kind of stuff.
Yeah, Reaper close range. Like, these are where the characters are supposed to excel. So if you're within 1 meter of Junkrat and he can get off 2 concussive mines within, you know, it's still a second and a half or so to get both of them out and detonate them. To me, I thought that was fair game. Like, you have to play towards each hero's strengths and each hero's weaknesses. So if I fought another Junkrat, I would never go through a choke point or a closed-in area without, you know, a tank or another person.
So with the changes that have gone through currently, it's hard to say how this is going to affect Junkrat. I mean, I've already seen people saying about Mercy already that, like, this is going to kill her, but I remember people saying that about the last set of changes going through and killing Mercy. So, is this going to, in inverted commas, kill Junkrat? But also, what's it going to do with other heroes? Are other heroes going to become less popular? Obviously, probably Mercy, but again, later. But like, what other heroes may rise in popularity due to the fall of Junkrat? Because I know Reinhardt players maybe, you know, have their fingers crossed listening to what you want to say now, I guess.
I don't think it'll change much matchups with tanks. Concussive mine, yes, it does 120 damage. It was nice. I can just be more accurate with it and overcome that. The matchups that Junkrat is going to have a difficult time with now, it will be Genji and Tracer. Pretty much the protected minority of Overwatch are the flankers. And I think if anything's too strong against the flankers, they're going to nerf that. And Genji's matchup before against Junkrat, if you use Deflect obviously is a huge hitbox. It's 2 meter in radius. Junkrat's mine is just off of that. So you could throw a concussive mine outside of his deflect radius, and you would get 120 damage, and you could really put him in a bad spot with that, or just outright kill him. So now if you, I think with the damage fall off, it'll do 60. So you'd have to hit 2 concussive mines and a primary shot to kill Genji with when he's deflecting. So that matchup's going to be incredibly difficult now. Harder than it was before just having 1 concussive mine. The other matchup will be Tracer. Obviously, she's just a very quick target. Yeah, concussive mine with, you know, the fall off, it's just going to be doing a little bit less damage to her. Overall, I think she'll have to, I mean, she kind of has to recall anything above 30 damage against Junkrat, even a melee shot, because a primary fire could kill it, or a concussive mine could have killed it. So if you can hit her once, I mean, it's still going to force a recall or put her within death range for your primary attack, but not in melee. Unless you, again, unless she's touching the mine, and mine is a very slow projectile. If you land that, then hell, you know, you deserve the 120, but she's just going to recall it off.
Is that quite concerning then? Because, like, I can understand Genji being bullied out, and part of me's like, it's nice to see less Genji because he's been, you know, the top tier pick for DPS options for a while. But Tracer just seems to be getting stronger and stronger after every patch. She's the poster girl of Overwatch, but now she seems to be the poster girl of competitive as well. Is that quite concerning then, that one of Tracer's, in inverted commas, counters is now a lot weaker against her?
Yeah, it is. It just straight up it is. Tracer was already more or less a difficult fight, and with this, it's going to be significantly harder. Yeah, I think both Genji and Tracers are going to rejoice after this patch because they kind of own the flanks now. Junkrat can offer very little to defend against them. I mean, you still got your primary, and if you land one of those, that's great, but you know, you're talking about the two most mobile heroes in Overwatch, and it is difficult to land a primary and then a cousin mine on them at times. Other times, you know, sometimes they just line up and it works, but it's going to be a lot of work, and you know, like you said before, I do enjoy the fact that Junkrat was an incredibly difficult pick. Back when he had one concussive mine, self-damage, and all of that, I still enjoyed the hero, and I'm still going to enjoy it going forward. And it's just going to provide a different type of options for me and different skill sets I got to start sharpening. It does just dampen a lot of things I used to like to do with mine. I used to enjoy the hell out of putting it on ceilings and just a little bit farther off where people didn't see it or didn't have it. The big deal with trap now is that since mine is 120, if you're not touching mine, you won't do that 120, so the trap will not kill you. So mine trap, you now have to put them on top of each other, and trap obviously is a little bit harder to see than mine, but now since you have to put them on the same square, they're going to be very, very easy to see. Unless you put a trap right against the wall and the concussive mine on the wall, but then the trap's usually not in the main route that they're going to walk on. So trap killing people is going to be a lot harder.
I'm quite curious too. I think one of the main things that I hear from people with Junkrat is, much like Mercy, it often feels quite dirty to play because it's kind of holding down left click and you get kills and stuff. And I remember having this conversation with you when we did the Master Guide, where you kind of relished in picking a very, very niche hero back then with Junkrat, who was a lot worse than he is now, and becoming quite a master at him and, learning all these ins and outs. There isn't an inherent problem with playing Junkrat on Mercy, it's just more that these heroes seem to be very impactful for very little skill required, I suppose. Right,
and that's, I think, the biggest issue in the community right now with specific heroes. Like, you could talk about McCree, Genji, Tracer, Soldier, and people be like, oh yeah, but that takes skill. And then you talk about, Junkrat or Mercy, and they're like, it's too good for what you put in. It's true to a point, but then we have to look at the bigger thing of what is Overwatch, and it's a game designed to be accessible for everyone. So some of these classes, or heroes, sorry, they are a little bit easier to play, and I believe Mercy is designed to be something that you can pick up, and one of your friends that can't play the game as well, guess what? You can pick Mercy, and you can help your friend that's a lot better than you, and you can raise in the ranks along, side by side with them. When before, in a first-person shooter genre, I mean, if you don't have skill, get out. That was the end-all of be-all. And Overwatch has introduced all these decision-making into the game, and that's what I consider abilities, decision-making type things. That allows you to compete at a higher skill level than if it was just based on pointing and clicking.
There was the big thread with PvP Twitch about what he suggested, and he wanted to reduce the mine damage but increase the trap damage just to make sure that you still had that 200 damage combo that you could kill a lot of the 200 HP by trapping them and then bombing them. In terms of the changes that have gone through with the damage fall off on the mines, do you like them? If you were to sort of nerf him yourself, what would you change if you had that option? What would your Reddit thread of ideas be full of?
If I had to change him, I would like to put his damage for concussive mine to 80 or 90, because that's the big issue. People just don't like the double hit and concussive.
Yeah.
But with that, I would either A, lower the cooldown, maybe to 6 seconds, just allow me to do what I want more often. Give me more mobility. I still can't two-shot you. So it just allows me to, if you pressure me every 6 or 4 seconds, then maybe I can two-shot you with, if you're low health or if I hit you with a primary or something. Or you could take away control in the air, like Doomfist. So when Doomfist uppercuts you, the guy's just in the air, you can't move around no matter what. Unlike Junkrat, where if Junkrat hits you, you have full air control. You are as mobile as Junkrat is when he hits himself with that concussive mine. So that makes it very difficult to have a lead shot. You can practice it and you can hit these air shots, but it's still a difficult thing to do consistently. So if you take away air control and make it more like Pharah's concussive blast, I could use a concussive mine, do 80 damage to you, and it'll sling you against the wall, and then I can shoot you with a very predicted shot. that would make his indoor area very consistent, but make his outdoor area less consistent, and overall reduce his two-shot, like remove the two-shot of concussive mine changes.
Yeah.
As for these changes that they did to Junkrat on the PTR, I don't like them, mainly because of the inconsistency that they have.
Because that was Junkrat's biggest issue, wasn't it, to begin with, was the inconsistent not being able to confirm kills. So has that brought him back to square one again?
That is correct. And I would rather have one mine that does 120 damage at this point than two mines that do this variable amount of damage. I think as game design, as a character, it is a terrible, terrible choice, and it takes Junkrat in the wrong direction. You've just made an inconsistent character it was fine. He was inconsistent. He had, high burst damage. If you could somewhat control it, it was, the payoff was great. But with double concussive mine, yeah, it was a little bit too easy at times. So now they reintroduced this variableness. I think they're pawning it off. They're like, oh, if you're skilled enough, you can get it. And I'm like, oh man, if I'm not within 1 to 2 meters of you, you have a very, very good chance to dodge concussive mine. And then it's going to do some amount of damage that I can't count on. Did it do 80? Did it do 100? Did it do 30? I mean, it's that those little numbers do matter a lot at the highest levels. If you have 70, 80, or 90 damage, that's a very, very big difference. Two of those numbers I said, you can get killed by a primary shot. One of those numbers, it doesn't do it anymore. So
sure.
I would like it if maybe they made the minimum damage 80. At least give me something consistent to work with. I don't know if that's going to happen. I mean, the only thing I could maybe make it do 120 if it's on a surface. If it's stuck to something. So just to fix the whole trap issue, just allow it to do full damage if it's stuck to a surface.
Do you feel that Junkrat's still going to be useful across competitive? Would you still recommend people picking him up and learning him, or do you think that this is kind of putting him back into a really troll pick sort of state?
I wouldn't say troll pick, but it definitely is weakening his viability. Maybe he'll get picked up in comp. The pick rate will definitely drop. There is no doubt about that because of the issues when fighting a flanker. He still has, his primary didn't change. He still can lay down a lot of damage on a small area. It's just his self-defense and his ability to protect his supports has kind of been nerfed. I don't want to say stripped away from him. He can still do stuff, but it's definitely going to be harder to play him. And at the highest levels, when you're up against a professional Genji or Tracer, man, if you can't count on that 120 damage, you're going to lose. And you're going to be, you need to be more dependent on your team in that case. Which, some people like that idea, and some people don't,
So when it comes to playing against the Junkrat, let's use the perfect map that he's on, Temple of Anubis, first point. Obviously, you don't go into the room on the left where he's spamming grenades from, so how do you play against that kind of playstyle then? How should players have approached Junkrat in those really strong situations for him?
So, it's funny you mentioned that. That is actually a long, long time ago I said I hated defending that room in Anubis. Essentially, Junkrat, when he had 2 concussive mine, he was too slow to get to the main fight. So if you just ignore him on a flank like that, because the flank is actually really far away from the middle path. You can actually take the middle path and the right path, and you can take the point from there. You just ignore the Junkrat in that case. If he's way, way far away on a flank like that, he's disconnected from his team, play that to your advantage. Play that disconnection to your advantage and push the main team. As for what to do if Junkrat's holding down a specific area, one is just avoid it. And that's the kind of issue with all niche heroes is there's usually 3 ways to attack a point. If you go the way they're not strong, the hero's useless. So that's one thing. If you have to engage him at middle range or farther. Don't get right up in his face. I know a lot of people want to get up in his face, but that's what caused a lot of the complaining and a lot of the issues with Junkrat is that you got up in his face, he's just going to double concussive mind you. That was,
Guess we should talk about Mercy now as well. Probably the more prominent and sought after changes compared to Junkrat. Where does that leave her? You're not really a sort of Mercy expert, but you've obviously played a ton of the game when Mercy's been really strong. Is this the sort of final nail in her coffin when it comes to how she's being played currently? Or is she still going to be somewhat viable?
She's still viable. Straight up, she is still viable. And I know people are like, all you do is play Junkrat when you know about Mercy. It's like, I love game design and I study this up and down the street. They actually did the Mercy change that I was hoping they would do, which is just remove the extra charge from her ultimate. And because people think she's all about the resurrection. And don't get me wrong, that's an incredibly strong skill. With her ultimate, what it was really about was that chain healing from a safe distance and allowing her to dash anywhere she wants in the map. It's incredibly, incredibly strong. You got to realize she is an evasive healer. So what her ultimate should do is boost her evasiveness and her healingness. So with the res, it was a little bit too strong. It made some fights, you know, they always say like an 8v6 or an 8v5.
Yeah, but also like the speed that she moved, how long it was as well. These have all been changed as well, and the instant res as well. So there's a lot there.
That's biggest. I didn't mind the slow res outside of her ult. That was great. I think that was a very good move. But when she just had 2 charges, she just used 2 charges during her ult and they'd get them instantly. And now it's slow during her ult as well. So it's like, all right, now she has a weakness. Now she can be picked off because, you know, when she's flying around all nimbly bimbly, she's very difficult to hit, even for hit scans. She's going to get taken down with her unlimited regen during ult for 20 seconds, no less. It was very tough to pressure her, and she could always be in an area and still heal her team while you're trying to essentially get to her. You just couldn't get to her. That was the entire problem. And now that still is the thing, right? That's still her hero design, is this evasiveness and healing. So that hasn't changed. What has changed is that if you get a little bit greedy, all right, you can be punished for it. And also, I think the duration, which is 20 seconds, was just over the top. Just for how fast it charged, very, very over the top. 15 seconds is a lot more manageable.
I guess finally then, just to sum up what you think of predominantly the Junkrat changes, where this leaves the hero, what this opens up the future of the meta to be, also the Mercy change as well, and finally where can people find you playing predominantly Junkrat? Whatever you're up to at the moment, let us know.
Yeah, so I think overall, Junkrat's matchups against the flankers is going to be more difficult, so we'll probably see him less in the competitive scene. I'll try to figure out some way to make it up on the ladder scene. Mercy, with her going down, we're going to see a lot more picks of the other supports. Probably a lot more Lucio, because he is strong, and I think he is undervalued because mobility is the strongest thing in the game. Overall, I think we're progressing in the right direction. You know, whether or not it does or does not buff my hero, whatever. You know, I just care about Overwatch as a whole. And as for where to reach me, I'm on Twitch TV/ProLikeChro, and then you can catch my YouTube on YouTube/C/ProLikeChro.
And that's it for this time. Thank you very much for watching. Do let us know what you think of the Junkrat and Mercy changes in the comments below, whether you agree or disagree with Crow. You can check out all these details in the description below too. And until next time, take care. We'll see you then.